For more on the attacks, I'm joined by Matthew Brodsky. He is a Middle East expert and former director of policy at the Jewish Policy Center here in Washington, D.C. Matthew, why don't we just begin with your reaction when you saw the news?
It's horrible, horrible, bloody attack. It's a massacre, literally a butchering with butcher knives of Israeli Jews praying.
Hamas has praised the attack as a response to Israeli crimes. Netanyahu vowing to respond with a heavy hand. I mean, it's almost, I hate to say it, but it's almost we've seen this movie before. So take us from today to what we're likely to see as the days unfold. What do you think is going to happen? What's going to be the response?
You'll see the usual condemnations from the United States, as we've seen today. Mahmoud Abbas has said essentially what he says all the time, that he condemns the violence no matter what. But these type of killings, they don't occur in a vacuum. There's official incitement from the state media. They celebrate in the Palestinian Authority and they celebrate in the streets after these killings. They name streets and squares after terrorists, and it is a culture that breeds the violence. They've been fueling this speculation, which is an outright lie, that Israelis are trying to undermine or the stability of the mosque on the Temple Mount, which is absurd. That type of claim has been around since the 1920s. The lie spreads. The Palestinian Authority spreads it on their TV, and you have these violent acts. And it's unfortunate, but the culture and the Palestinian Authority, led by Mahmoud Abbas, the supposed moderates, need to really address that situation.
You heard the U.S. President Barack Obama saying that this is a spiral that ends up with a spiral. It's difficult to emerge from. What needs to happen for that to end? Because we've seen, as I said before, we've seen this before. Usually there's a response, and there's another response, and suddenly we're back to where we were not too long ago.
Well, unfortunately, the situation we're in right now, and looking at the power broker relationship that the United States has, their role has very much been diminished. So what needs to take place basically is cooling off on both sides, which is easier said than done. What's really interesting, I find, in this situation, as opposed to previous situations, is that when you've seen uprisings before, you've had the first Intifada in '87 that started in Gaza. You had the second Intifada that started in 2000 that was out of the West Bank. Now you're seeing Jerusalem, Arabs being far more involved. And this is a marked difference than previous forms of early stage uprising. So whether that portends something for the future, who knows, but certainly a calming of tensions on both sides, I believe would have to start with the Palestinian Authority looking at incitement and not being in a coalition government with Hamas, which is a terrorist organization.
Well, you said a marked difference. There's a difference here in the sense that 3 of the victims had U.S.-Israeli dual citizenship. How will that change the dynamic as far as the United States and their response, or how should it change it in your estimation?
I don't think it'll have a great difference. From the American political perspective, from President Obama, is in the last years of his presidency after a midterm, and he's looking for a legacy item in foreign policy. And for him, that's going to be the Iranian nuclear issue. And anything else is going to be viewed through the administration through that prism. Going for Middle East peace process, apparently he appears to be looking at several options. One of them is having another big peace process. One is laying out an American plan that Palestinians and Israelis haven't agreed to. Another one is abstaining rather than vetoing resolutions at the UN for Palestinian statehood. There's a few options that are large, but none that he should be taking as drastic as that. He should be working behind the scenes in incremental steps to calm the situation, to work with Israelis and Palestinian security services, to beef that up, and to leave it for another president who can come in who's viewed more credibly by both sides.
All right, Matthew Brodsky, always a delight having you in on the broadcast. Thanks so much for coming in, offering your insights. Appreciate it.